It is the culmination of a lot of hard work during the spring session for Miami football, and we will see the Canes on display this Saturday at noon Eastern Time on the ACC Network, the annual spring game. We're all looking forward to seeing and looking forward to the next hour with Cam Underwood from State of the U. Of course, leave those comments and questions in the live chat, and please consider the super chat as well. And contribute with a like and share the videos and do all those good things to build up the channel and this particular show, of course, as much as possible. Cam, how are we doing tonight?
Good. Hanging out. Reminding myself to put my phone on vibrate. But yeah, otherwise, yeah, can't complain. Feel good. Had a good day today, so.
Good.
Yeah.
I had a good day as well. This is the first trip I've taken down the street to the park to shoot some hoop. Okay. That's something I love to do when it finally gets nice out. And over the last few days, it's been high 60s, and today 75 and sunny. So hopefully spring is settled in for good. So that was nice for me. All right, let's get some nasty news out of the way first and foremost. And there's also going to be personnel news just to talk about, as there is with every college football program with the day and age that we're in now, just about every week. But first and foremost, again, a suspension coming down for linebacker Deshaun Troutman concerning a domestic violence allegation.
Yeah, this is something that was broken last week by Andy Slater down here. This has happened way previously. This was in March that the arrest happened. Deshaun Troutman alleged to have hit his girlfriend multiple times in multiple places around the body and whatnot. And yeah, so that arrest record came out, the report came out and everything. University of Miami, when reached by Slater and multiple other journalists, issued a statement basically saying that they're aware of the incident, or the incident being the arrest and the allegation against Troutman, and he was immediately suspended upon his arrest, basically, from all team activities indefinitely. And so he is not obviously with the team through spring practice or anything like that. And we'll see how this goes. I would, caution people from making a full decision until things play themselves out. We've seen things that have been confirmed and things that have been disproven, both at the University of Miami and elsewhere. If you remember the Mark Walton situation, when he was arrested, but he was set up by a young lady and a police officer from the city of Miami who basically was jealous of Mark Walton. And so this, thing, and everybody's like, oh, he needs to go, and da-da-da-da. But it was disproven. So, okay. There was, the sexual assault and rape of a freshman student in a summer, but she was a minor. She was 17 years old, by two football players, and they were kicked off the team. And I know some people are saying, well, you're mentioning that, but, she lied or da-da-da-da. They had enough to kick him out of school, so, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I'm not going to sit here and say one way or the other what needs to happen because I don't know the facts. And, I'll let the investigation do what it does. If it is disproven, as with the Mark Walton situation, then obviously I believe that young man can stay at the University of Miami and forge a path forward. However, if it is, if what is alleged is confirmed to have happened or something reasonably similar to that, then he absolutely cannot stay at the University of Miami. Then he needs to be expelled from the university and dismissed from the team immediately, if that is the way that it goes. So, yeah, I don't take any delight in that, but I think that a measured approach is the best approach for everybody, to give the opportunity for the system to work. Because, yeah, you don't want to ruin somebody's life or take away that opportunity if it was disproven, as, again, the one situation that I mentioned here, which has happened in other cases, in other places as well. But, yeah, he is not with the team while that is ongoing. And we will see if he returns to the team at all.
Regardless of who you root for, if you're human, you want the truth to be determined. and then justice to be served. That's what you want. And that's simply the conclusion that we all want. There you go. Got Kim Underwood, as we typically do on Wednesday night at 7 o'clock Eastern time. We would ask that you would do everything that's within your power to make this show successful, because Cam devotes his time, his knowledge, his insight, his personality, everything he brings to the table each and every Wednesday night. And we deliver content with Cam and others here on the Miami channel. So please like the video, share these videos out on social media, let people know that we're here every Wednesday and delivering content on a daily basis, and subscribe here. And again, the super chat's available, and our guy Falconer X right out of the gate. Thank you so much for that. We appreciate that, Falconer X. All right. More personnel moves involve Tyreek, Austin Cave, and also Cody Brown, who have decided to hit the transfer portal.
Yeah, those are the most recent two, but those will not be the last two, as Mario Cristobal turns this roster over. But yeah, those two, apparently it was yesterday with Tyreek, Austin Cave. I missed that one because I had to work a 13-and-a-half-hour day at the secret day job. So sorry. But, hey, it was fine. Just had...
Get those priorities straight.
I had a lot of work to do. I know, right? What's wrong with me, But yeah, so I missed that one yesterday, but he's a linebacker from New Jersey. I believe it's Camden, New Jersey. Athletic linebacker, but it didn't really come together for him here. He had a couple injuries to battle through, and seemed like finding an opportunity elsewhere was best for him. And so that is the decision that he's made. Same thing with Cody Brown. Cody Brown is a guy who can play at a Power 5 school, and he can be a rotation back, if not starter. Miami's running back room is just super duper 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 loaded right now. Like everybody, or they asked Henry Parrish after practice yesterday, about, would he have come to Miami? Had we recruited him stronger out of high school or blah blah, but that was a spot where you had to make a tough decision that year. And the backs that we took were the number one back in Dade and the number one back in Broward, and those happened to have been Donald Chaney Jr. and Jalen Knighton. If we had had a third spot, it would have been Henry Parrish's, far and away. Everybody knew that. I said that on this show then. But at some point, there's a line, and you have to choose who's in the boat and who's out. And unfortunately for Henry Parrish, he was out. Now, he played really well at Ole Miss. We recruited him to come down here, to transfer here. So he's here. So that's a guy with top of the rotation. Second string, but 500-something yards at Ole Miss for a team that ran the ball really well. That's nothing to shake a stick at. So he's there with the aforementioned Knighton and Chaney, who are both high 4-star recruits. Then you have Thad Franklin, who's just a truck. Then you get Trevante Citizen on signing day, away from every other every SEC team around, basically. That's huge. And then you got Cody Brown, who's fine, but he's not any of those other guys. And it would have been hard for him to find playing time here. And I think that it's the best move for everybody for him to move on and try to find that playing time that he will clearly desire elsewhere. And again, I have no ill will towards any of them. I don't, I hate that they ended up leaving, but I understand the scenario or the process that brought them to that decision. But yeah, they will not be the last players from the roster who leave. There will be more attrition. I can guarantee you that. Somebody hit me on Twitter today and said it's going to be somebody from every single position. I don't necessarily agree with that, but there's going to be people leaving this roster. And that's okay. But yeah, these are the last two. And again, we wish them well in their future endeavors. I think, I don't know that there's anything negative about them. I don't know them personally. I've not heard anything about them like that. That makes me, I think that they're a jerk and they shouldn't do that. I don't know that. So I wish them well. I hope that they find a home. And I think that both of them are talented enough to find a landing spot. I think that, Brown is from Tennessee. I know that Brown is from Tennessee and Austin Cave is from New Jersey. So I would say look somewhere in their home areas, maybe, for where they land. But yeah, they're off the roster. Wishing the best.
All right, leave those comments and questions. We will get to them, and we will do so right now. And of course, we will ask Cam later in the show about his wants for the spring game, what he's looking for. Noon Eastern time on Saturday, ACC Network. Desmond asking Cam if you could choose a player from, we're guessing, the 2023 class that would have an immediate impact. Who would you take?
Jeez. There's lots of really good players. It's a good and interesting question, but it's also like picking my favorite drop of water out of the ocean. You know what I mean? If I had to pick one off the top of my head, I would say Nicholas Harbor, 5-star defensive end from, I think he's from the Maryland-ish area, Baltimore, somewhere around there. If you've seen these videos on Twitter, he's the 6'5", 245-pound kid who's running like in the low 10 seconds in the 100-meter dash, like 10.33, 10.29, like ridiculously fast. And so, he had a 10.33 or 10.31 in a recent meet. And somebody put that up on video. And I had the fleeting thought, like I'm sure most people did, because I saw some people like quote tweet the tweet and was like, so I was going to say I would be wondering if I could tell which kid is this kid. But track athletes, for the majority, and especially in high school, they're going to be shorter and faster. So the guy who came in a half step behind him is this 5'8" burner. And then you just see this mountain of a man flying down the track. So, yeah, if I have to pick one, if I had to pick my favorite drop of water out of the ocean right now for that question, immediate impact from this class, I would say Nicholas Harbor.
Okay.
Good, Chris?
And since we don't have too much in the chat by way of questions right this second, let's get right into the spring game. All right, spring games are spring games, meaning you have to be cautious of your judgment and evaluation of what you're seeing and what is meaningful and what is not. And of course, various coaching staffs approach it differently in regards to not so much scheming, because it's vanilla across the board anywhere,
Right.
but in terms of physicality and the setup. Now we see different formats. 15 years ago, every spring game looked the same. It was pretty much don't touch the quarterback, but we're kind of playing a game at like 80%. Well, now it's all sorts of let's set up a situation here, let's set up a situation there, or it's not really fair to run the certain offense against defense and have teams. So let's just we set up a defensive scoring system. So let's let the defense challenge the offense, and all sorts of different setups. So I guess first and foremost, do we know what the format is going to be of the spring game?
I am not sure. No, that has not been announced yet, but I think it's probably going to be just regular offense versus defense without the defensive scoring, just like regular game.
Oh, so two teams.
Yeah. So first team offense, second team defense is the orange team, and then second team offense, first team defense would be the green or white team, or whichever other Miami color you wanted to pick of those three. It'll be interesting because I think that you're going to see some guys rotate at certain positions, wide receiver and offensive line, particularly. Maybe even running back, but not all the running backs are at 100%. And Trevante Citizen is not even on campus already, and he's not even on campus, and he already shuttled Cody Brown off campus. So kind of speaks to his level of talent. But yeah, you want to see the mixing and matching of the offensive line, how they play. I want to see Tyler Van Dyke continue to do Tyler Van Dyke things, because all the snippets of video that we get and reporting says that he is doing very, very well to continue to be himself, which, him continuing the role that he's been or ended last season on, that is a great player, and we would like to have that, as well as develop in other areas. There was a nice thread on Van Dyke put up by David Hale of ESPN, I quote tweeted it from the State of the U Twitter, so you can just scroll down. It was a couple days ago about the role that he was on in the stats, and he's like, yeah, it's great, but also there were some other quarterbacks that have done that, and a lot of them recently, and but continuing to do that would be great, but also Miami does need to develop in some other areas, and I agree with that. I want to see physicality. I want to see tackling be better, because tackling was piss poor last year. It was very, very atrocious. Also atrocious is that Florida State helmet over your right shoulder there.
I knew that. I expected somebody in the chat to say that by now. I was.
Yeah, it just caught my attention as I was going, but hey. But I mean, the first thing always for me is just no injuries. That's what I don't want to. I just don't want to see any injuries. That's really about it. I want to see the guys who are stepping back up, or not stepping back up, but maybe into bigger roles for themselves. Daz Worsham, has really looked like he is doing better. And he was a record-setting wide receiver in high school at Troutman in Alabama, had a hip injury his senior year. So he had these astronomical stats sophomore and junior year. His senior year stats were pretty pedestrian. And it's taken him a while, but it seems like he's being very consistent. So maybe he'll work his way into the rotation. Xavier Restrepo, Brashard Smith, Jacoby George making, ridiculous catches every single day, but Frank Ladson working his way back into that battle as well. Keyshawn Smith, all those guys, just really how they're working with the quarterbacks. Want to see Jake Garcia back healthy. That'd be great. Another big athletic quarterback who's a couple mango seasons away from being ready, I think. But Ja'Cory Brown, hey, let's see. I mean, he's a truck. He's 6'4" with, again, these gigantic shoulders and this huge arm. All the athleticism you could ever want. A super gamer who will, lead his team back. And, I mean, he performs well, exceeds the moment in every big moment. But can he be consistent? Can he go through his progressions? Can he be accurate with the football? Can he have consistent progressions and technique? His footwork, his ball placement, all those kind of things. Not just throwing fastballs all the time. Like sometimes you need to throw a little changeup or a curveball or something, to get it there. But not just like, rev it up as fast and go with as many RPMs as you can. And that would be fast with a lot of RPMs because he's a big dude with a big arm, But I want to see Ja'Cory. I want to see what the freshmen look like. I want to see Leonard Taylor continuing to do Leonard Taylor things. There's a long list of things to look for, really. But, number one, for me, no injuries. Number two, let's get a hint of the scheme that we're looking to employ this year. Because, like you said, it's going to be vanilla, obviously, because you're not going to try to put everything on film. And the game will be on ACC Network for those who are unable to go in person to watch. And you can record it, obviously, and look back at it. And it's going to be out there so other teams around, I'm sure that every team that you're going to play this year, they're going to have it on their DVR or like pull and, try to get the video and everything. So you don't want to put the entire exotic playbook out there, but what you run on Saturday, that will inform, okay, what are going to be the staples? What are going to be the tent poles of the offense and the defense that we're going to build around? What are going to be the foundations of what we do and how we do it, right, with this staff and in place? So, yeah, you're going to just really look for that. And then see who stands out, man, because, I want it to be like a game, and I want to see who has that dog, who really has that inside of them when, okay, this is when we need to turn it on because we're competing against somebody else. Who's able to do that? Who's able to rise to and exceed the expectations of the situation and the moment? And, if not, then I think after spring, next week and the week after, and thereafter that as well, I think that we're going to see even more attrition, more players deciding to take their talents somewhere other than South Beach.
Not that Tyler Van Dyke has not earned the starting job. Of course he did. Not that there was a quarterback battle. But the Jake Garcia dynamic does intrigue me in this way.
Okay.
So at the time that Derek King went down last year, was Tyler Van Dyke the choice because Garcia was injured, or okay?
Yeah, because Garcia was ahead of Van Dyke with the 2s. That's confirmed.
Okay. So every day in practice, Jake Garcia's, to be in the position he is, you have to have strong confidence. I was going to say supreme, but there are certainly doubts that run through. He's not Tom Brady and accomplished everything imaginable. We don't know what his psyche is, but anyway, I got to think he's got confidence, of course, in his ability, because these two quarterbacks came into college football with roughly the same rating, evaluation, and if anything, Garcia was slightly higher. Correct?
Garcia is the highest rated recruit that we've signed since at quarterback in more than a decade. So
yes. Yeah. So here has to be a guy that every day in practice is thinking, I understand 25 touchdowns, 6 picks, won all these games. That I understand. I can't do anything about that. It's only practice, but I can show every rep after rep that I'm just as good, if not better. And now this is no different, except I'm on television, and now our fan base and other college football fans get to see that I can throw the ball and make decisions just as well.
Yeah, I mean, and Garcia was an early enrollee, so he was able to do that last spring as well. So with it was really the 2 of them because King was coming back off of his knee. So, they were rotating with both the 1s and 2s, the spring game. And yeah, he was able to showcase some of those same things. And he'll definitely look towards that. I don't, just to cut people off at the pass for where I know that they're going because of our prior conversation on this episode. I do not believe that Jake Garcia will be one of the players leaving this roster for attrition this year. I do not think that is what is going to happen. I could be wrong, but I think if he were going to leave in search of playing time this current season, he would have already been gone to be somewhere else for spring. Now, TBD decides that he wants to stay for the 2023 season and not go to the draft after this season, then I think that door to the portal is wide open, just like it's a wardrobe going to Narnia for Jake Garcia. He's going through that thing in a hurry, I think. But right now, today, April 13th, 2022, I don't think that Jake Garcia is leaving from Miami this year. Well, I mean, ahead of this season for the portal. Now, I could be wrong. And if I am wrong, then that would put Miami in a real challenging position because then you have Peyton Matoka and Peyton Matoka, who's a scholarship player, Ryan Rizek, who is a preferred walk-on and the older brother of a 4-star recruit at quarterback, and then Ja'Cory Brown at quarterback behind Tyler Van Dyke. So unlike in the past where, Derek King went down and then we had Jake Garcia, King and Garcia went down the same game. So King and Garcia go down, then you have Tyler Van Dyke for the rest of the season with these same guys behind. If Tyler Van Dyke were to go down, then you're looking at a program player who was never supposed to play a meaningful snap in Matoka, a guy who's a preferred walk-on in Rizek who might be better than Matoka, and I think took snaps before Matoka last year, and then a true freshman who is definitely a couple of years away from being ready. That would be very scary without Jake Garcia on the roster, which would be the situation. So I think just from a management standpoint that you're really looking to keep Jake Garcia around. I think that he's going to be around just because I think he would have left already for this year. But this is a conversation that we can revisit in the future, obviously, depending on how the season goes, how Tyler Van Dyke's individual play progresses, and his decision for the NFL draft coming next winter for next spring.
Falconer X, thank you so much for the contribution. Appreciate that. The spring game hype video Miami posted on YouTube today was impressive. Can't wait to watch.
Yeah, me either. Honestly, I was had a good day, but I had a busy day, so I was running around a little bit, so I haven't gotten a chance to watch it, but I will definitely check it out. But the spring game is sold out. They did announce that yesterday at Drive Pink Stadium in Central Fort Lauderdale. It's actually North Fort Lauderdale, excuse me. So yeah, if you do not already have tickets secured for that, then tough cookies. So yeah.
John's question: does Cam think that Mario is that dude as in terms of him getting Miami to the playoffs over the next 3 years, or is Mario there to stack the talent and be replaced?
I think the goal is for Mario to be that dude while stacking with talent himself. And, the reason that you bring him in is his obsessive nature in terms of recruiting and talent acquisition. So you want the program, you want the talent on the roster to be better. You bring in the guy to make it better, and then hopefully that guy is able to get the performance to be better as well. The guy who went to 3 Pac-12 championship games and won it twice in 4 years at Oregon. So it's hard to say that. It almost comes down to that conversation topic of who's the next coach who hasn't won a championship to be a championship coach, And for a long time, it was okay. It's going to be Kirby. Kirby finally got one. Cool. Jimbo has one. Nick has a million. Dabo has a couple. Am I missing anybody?
Mac Brown, going way back.
Jesus. Okay, yeah, Mac Brown has one, but I honestly don't think he's going to add another one. He wouldn't be in this conversation, right? So, could Mario be on that list? Yeah. It'd be interesting to see where people might think that he would be on that list, but I don't think that he was brought in just to put some systems in place, change some structures, reshape the roster, and then move on. The goal is for him to also take a step to become a national championship coach here at Miami. He's proven that he can win his division. He's proven that he can win his conference elsewhere. So we need to get back, continue that kind of performance, and then take the step forward. So it remains to be seen if he's able to do that. I think that the potential is there. But I would go more towards Cristobal being that dude than just a rebuilder and a reshaper to go get another guy, right? Because first of all, who are you going to get who's like an upgrade? Because all due respect to Manny Diaz, this is an upgrade. Clearly. Sorry, it is. Who are you going to go get that's a clear upgrade from Cristobal, right? And then he's a Cuban-American from Miami, played at Miami, won 2 championships with Miami, coached at Miami twice, has gone elsewhere, prodigal son, right? Goes to the Nick Saban School for Wayward Coaches. Goes there as their ace recruiter, all these 5 stars, even from Florida, develops there. He was at FIU and turned FIU into a program that was putting people into the league. T.Y. Hilton, Jonathan Cyprian, right? All who in the league with names that you know. And there's other guys as well. But he goes there and learns, okay, this is how I want to run a program. Okay, cool. Got sent out there because Pete Garcia is the worst AD in the history of athletics and made a stupid-ass decision to get rid of Mario Cristobal. What the fuck are you thinking? At FIU with the job of 8-4 at FIU? And you get rid of this man who wanted to be there at the time? You're so stupid. Anyway, but he goes from there. He'd already previously coached at Miami. Done the thing, comes back for a week. Saban goes and plucks him, goes to over there. Okay, now I'm in the SEC. We're going to level that up, make those connections, see what that current at the time championship program is like. Then gets a name brand job at Oregon and continues their progression and raises the bar there in terms of talent acquisition, in terms of production and performance. Now, I know Chip Kelly got to a championship game and everything, but Helfrich wasn't really doing much.
Or Taggart.
Oh, well, right. So it was Helfrich and then Taggart. But Taggart had left to go to Florida State, which is a super name brand program, of course. I'm not going to fault him for leaving that for that. But goes there, does pretty damn well. And then after all of this that has taken me away from Miami, now I'm going to come back to Miami so that all of the things that I've learned and all the success I've had and all the things I've done, all of that leads me here to do that in the place where I'm from, at the school that I went to, with some of the people that I love most in this world. And, rest in peace to his mother. And I know that was a big factor in him choosing to come back. And she passed away very shortly after he did return home. But your high school friend, Alex Mirabal, has worked with you in your entire career. And he's going to be your associate head coach and offensive line coach. You get Frank Ponce back to Miami, who's from Miami, off of a play calling offensive coordinator job at Appalachian State. Not a, not the biggest job in the world, but like that's arguably one of the best jobs you can have in the group of five, right? Offensive coordinator, play calling offensive coordinator there. You get him to come back. That's another Miami guy. Kevin Smith from Miami, running back who went to UCF, played in the league for your Detroit Lions, second-round draft pick. And was coaching at Ole Miss before he came over here, which is why Henry Parrish comes down. And then you get a star-studded cast of coaches to be with you. Cristobal did not set this up for someone else to come in and succeed. He's building this for him to be the guy leading this program forward to the greatness to which we all greatly aspire. So, yeah, I think that the plan is for him to be the dude. If it doesn't work out that way, it doesn't work out that way. But I would say the goal is definitely for him to be that dude. We'll see if he's able to lead this team there. But, yeah, that would be my answer. Yeah.
Oregon's a tremendous job. It's a top 15 job in the country. But if I had my selection between Oregon or Miami, with not having even the draw or the attachments that Mario Cristobal has to Miami, I'm just talking about, I'm a dude from Ohio. I'm just looking at two programs. As long as the money's comparable or better, and I could get, based on what's happened at Miami the last 15 to 20 years, I could get some reasonable commitment, or they could convince me that they're going to give me what I need to compete, meaning the dollars for the coaching staff, et cetera, and that there's a commitment. As long as I was sold on the commitment and the money was comparable, I wouldn't even think 5 seconds about it. You can recruit so much better to Miami. You've got the competition in the divisions is comparable, so that's kind of a wash. You can go to Miami. The recruiting so much better. I'd rather live in Miami, and there you go. So I would go to Miami, and then on top of that, of course, he's a Miami guy. So
the other thing is, if I would think that the recruiting is going to be better because he recruited at Oregon with a black hole at SC. They were not good. They were not doing anything. It was Oregon ran the West Coast. They did, honestly. And I know that SC
Colton had some good recruiting.
They recruited okay, but it was not anything like what we're seeing right now from Lincoln Riley. I don't think, and again, I've talked about this before. There were pipeline schools that were, if you were good at this high school and you were a 4-star, 5-star, you're going to SC.
Sure.
That did not happen. Now they might have gotten a couple of guys from those schools, but like it was you build a Elon Musk light rail from the campuses of these schools, zoom, going to South Central to SC before, right? That's not happening. I guarantee Kayvon Thibodeau does not go to Oregon if SC is actually SC. 100%, right? But that's a guy who we're talking about, Penei Sewell. I don't think that he goes to Oregon if SC is SC. So you're talking about some of the top guys that you're talking about in terms of the recruiting. I think it's going to be better down here for Mario than it would have continued to be in Oregon. And I don't think that it's crazy. And I get where Oregon people refuse to kind of accept the truth because they want to be. Everybody wants to be the superstar. Nobody wants to be the second backup dancer, really. But you lost your last two coaches to Florida State, top of the list, national brand job. Now, the formation of that program currently is not requisite to the name brand, right, of Florida State. But that is a top 3-5 name brand job. Miami's, okay, maybe not top 3-5, but top 7, top 10 name brand job. Absolutely. And teams in Florida then got your guys up off of there. Willie Taggart's from Bradenton. He grew up as a Florida State fan. Cool. Mario Cristobal's from Miami, went to Miami, won at Miami, played at Miami, coached at Miami. And they were like wondering, well, why would he leave? And then, are you dumb? Are you stupid? Like, it's not a hard concept when you look at it analytically and not through the lens of a fan. And I can fan with the best folk. I do try to be pragmatic in my analysis, and I come on here and I try not to do, but it will come out of me sometimes. If you ever see me at the tailgate when I'm not going into the press box and I'm going into the stands and I'm hanging out and I will fan with everybody at more than y'all. Honestly, because I have this personality and it gets me going. Shout out to Ricky, NWO Podcast. First of all, you should be listening to it if you're not. Second of all, his energy is on a million, and my energy is so much more like his. But I'm not going to just turn that on and overlook other facts of the matter. But it seems like Oregon fans have been doing that recently. And I'm so very sorry that you're an upper second tier kind of a job and national brand program, but this U's different. Sorry, that Florida State Spear, when compared to the Oregon O, with all due respect, that Spear hit different too. And there's a couple other ones. And I know you would say, oh, well, if our coach was going to Georgia or Alabama, that would be one thing. I mean, Florida State and Miami were Georgia and Alabama in the recent past before they were Georgia and Alabama. So having people from this area go to these teams and everything, it is less crazy than Oregon fans think. So that's my soliloquy on that. Take that as you will. Hate me if you want to.
Well, I'm going to push back a little bit. I generally agree, but I'm going to push back a little bit because I take feedback every day and I take calls and all that sort of thing. So I would put different classes of fandom in different categories in regards to, you have your completely delusional fans. Yes.
Yes.
But then you have your reasonable fans who also take great pride in their program. And so you can understand them being a little unreasonable and stretch their brand or their reputation, stretch their accomplishments a little bit. You can understand that they're going to look at their program from a favorable standpoint. And so if I'm an Oregon fan and I'm going to do that and not, again, be unreasonable and say, we're Alabama, we're Ohio State, because you're not, but say over the last 10 years, we did play in 2 national championship games. And when Chip Kelly was there, we did own that conference and own it, 33-3 own it.
Yeah.
Like be a top 3 team in the country for 3 or 4 years. Mm-hmm. And again, come within a chip shot field goal of winning the national championship and then getting back to a national championship game 4 years later. So they've been that close. And there's a very short list of national champions over the course of a decade. Mm-hmm. And now with the Mario Cristobal run, again, getting to the top of the Pac-12 and not being a dominant team in the Pac-12, but being clearly the best team / program in the Pac-12 over the past 4 years, I can understand them taking a sense of pride in that and saying, unless you're named X, Y, Z, and there's only about 5 of them, we shouldn't have to take a back seat to you.
I mean, you can feel that, right?
But you understand where that's a reason. It's an optimistic and favorable viewpoint, but it's realistic.
Okay. It is. But
based on results on the field.
But obviously there's projection for Miami because Miami's been bad, right? But you're going for all these other things. You're not going for a ready-made situation. You have to go make that situation what you want it to be at Miami currently, just like they have to make it what they want it to be at Florida State and some other places that are not having the on-field success that you would want to have, but leaving for that program, which is not as on-field good currently, right, is not crazy. Because if you're looking at that, and that's going to be the final line, right? That's going to be the final straw. That's going to be the last thing on the list of the conversation. Well, they went 6-7 and we went 10-3. So there's no reason to go over there. That doesn't make any kind of a sense. That's where I'm so sorry that you don't want to see that there are things other than current wins and losses. And again, you're also projecting for Oregon, and this is the unsaid thing, you're projecting that it's going to stay the exact same with SC getting Lincoln Riley and leveling up. And quietly, Chip Kelly, even though it started off very, very badly for him in Westwood, UCLA is not half bad. So, in Washington, they're going to do their thing. Like you're saying, okay, they suck and we're good. And that's terminal, right? That's I've been practicing my Spanish for the secret day job, right? So that's more of a ser versus an star, like a native state of being versus this is how I feel right now, right? Kind of a thing. So you're coming in it with that permanent ser kind of thinking, oh, this is what it is, and it will always be that, not a star, like, okay, well, we are this right now, and this could change. But the projection, and I get it because you're arguing your point, but like the counterfactual is true, where yes, you're good now, but other teams are also developing. Also, the main team on the West Coast that can inhibit this massive talent acquisition string that you've been on. But we're going to ignore that and just talk about Miami not winning as many games on the field as we want to have. Like that's where, even being realistic, you're not necessarily being realistic if there are even reasonable people refusing to bring up or acknowledge those parts of the scenario. You can be willfully ignorant, but that does not mean that I have to be stupid, right? Those things still matter, I think, to the conversation for me.
I'm not discounting anything you just said. I agree with everything you said. I was simply taking the role of the Oregon fan to say I can understand how they would feel that way and it not be completely unreasonable.
Okay. I got you.
So I think we're in the same place here. There's about 7 programs in the country that they've established what they are, and it would take cataclysmic drops for a long time for Alabama, Michigan, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Texas, USC. And let's put them in one category for a second and hold on Miami and Florida State, because from a super historical standpoint, and then maybe Penn State and Nebraska might be on the edge of that. They probably are. Okay.
Sure.
Then you've got Miami and Florida State. And is there anybody else in their category that obviously we know what they did around 1980 to become what they've become? And so they're kind of a different deal.
Yeah. Did you say Texas in the first group?
Yes.
Okay.
I said Oklahoma, Texas, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Michigan, Alabama,
USC.
And then Penn State and Nebraska. See, Nebraska to me, I think they have fallen to a point where they've taken themselves out of, like, I can't imagine Ohio State or Michigan, Notre Dame, any of the schools those 6 or 7 losing so much or being mediocre for so long that they then become something that they're not and haven't been forever. But I think Nebraska has lost it.
Yeah. And I mean, look, I grew up in Michigan. Y'all already know this. I suffered through Rich Rodriguez and Brady Hoke. Not good, either of them, in Ann Arbor. And Michigan's still Michigan. You know what I mean? So I think that speaks to Mark's point. But yeah, I mean, I think that the game has just changed so much that the way that Nebraska got to be Nebraska doesn't exist anymore. You know, they had this legendary walk-on program, and then a lot of those guys in the walk-on program ended up winning scholarships, and those scholarship guys, you know, they go on to starting positions on teams and, you know, just the triple option, 3 yards in a cloud of dust, you know, like all there's so many things about the game of football that are different. And I think that coupled with the swift slide to terrible and continue. I mean, we're talking 3-9 terrible, but continually, you know, in that range. Yeah, I think that they undid all the work that was done, you know, to get them to that prior level. I don't think that that's attainable again.
And we won't make this a Nebraska show, but I do think it's interesting because their fan base is totally sold out, rabid, continue to be faithful and loyal, and pack the place. I understand that, but still, the team's awful. They don't do that at Illinois.
Well, I mean, respectfully, there's more to do in Champaign-Urbana than there is in Lincoln, Nebraska, and the surrounding areas.
Okay,
you know what I mean.
Regardless, okay, I'm going to credit their fan base for being as loyal as they are.
You're right; they do show up. You're correct. They are diehard. They are diehard.
Yeah, they are. See, if Ohio State falls off, if Michigan falls off, you can see the way in which they would be able to bounce back. Nebraska is so isolated, and they still have such high expectations. And this is a program that I ran all-time program rankings through 10 different metrics about a month ago. And this is still, and it's not a perfect system. Do I sell it in that way in any way? But it's valid. It's very exhaustive. And Nebraska still ranks, even not being Nebraska for over 20 years, and then being kind of like a top 25 Nebraska for about 15 years, and now being like, they're like 60th now. They're just completely off. They still have aggregate metrics that are about 7th best all time. That's how good they were 70s, 80s, 90s.
Yeah.
But it's just difficult to see a way that they're going to make it back.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with that, but people probably say the same thing about Miami, but I think that there is a path. I don't know. We're gonna
there's a path because of players.
Hello, come on, so there's definitely a path. That's the easy thing to see. We just got to make it happen.
Yeah, Nebraska's got like 3 players in the state every year.
Exactly.
Falcon Rex, appreciate you being here, and thank you so much again for the contribution. As a coach, teams being equal, where would you live? Tallahassee, Eugene, Oregon, or Miami, Florida?
Look, I asked this somebody asked this on the timeline, and there were so many people caping for Eugene, Oregon. Oh, it's beautiful country. I'm like, yeah, it's beautiful country.
And for certain people, I'm not saying 100% of the population, but 90% would rather.
Come on.
All right. I believe we've got another super chat to pick off here. Let me find it in orange. In the meantime, thank you so much for the third degree to remind everyone to hit the like button and for the super chat. Before I get to these 2 super chats, do you have any perspective on Amarius Mims? He's an offensive lineman, a mammoth individual who was a 5-star, top of the board, 7th or 8th player, regardless of position, coming out, who is leaving Georgia via the transfer portal, who is, as of right now, visiting Tallahassee.
Yeah, that's what I saw come down the timeline at the beginning of the show. So that's one of the times that I kind of slowed my cadence down speaking. But Amarius Mims, he was number 7 overall, 8 overall in the country, number 1 offensive tackle, number 1 in the state of Georgia in the class of 2019 or 20. Recruiting class 6'7", 330, I want to say, something like that. Huge, massive player. So he left Georgia, and he's evaluating the way forward for himself. Seems like, from all reports, that it is a Florida State-Miami recruiting battle yet again, another one of those. So if you've been a fan of either program for any amount of time, you've seen plenty of those in your day. Amarius Mims is scheduled to be in Miami this weekend for an official visit through Easter. So, okay. The Florida State recruiting writers, they, hype beasting a little bit with the eye emojis and everything. Nobody said that he's not coming to Miami. It was just reported by Gabby Rudia, former State of the U contributor, now at 247 Miami at the Inside the U site, that Amarius Mims was coming to Miami this weekend. Cool. It's supposed to be Thursday through Sunday. Cool. Then, the writers for the Florida State 247 site, hype beasts. First of all, they want to talk shit about Gabby, one of the best people that I've ever met. So you're wrong. You're way off base there, first of all. but then like impugn his integrity, like, oh, like he's not breaking any news, or you know, and then just like, oh, eyeball emojis, and like, oh, breaking, you know, like okay, cool. Hey, again, if Mims were the kind of player that no other team wanted him, then I would consider why Miami would want him. He was a 5-star high school All-American and is leaving the current college football national champions. It makes sense that other teams are chasing him as well. But if you are a believer in your staff, in your process, in your product, and your ability to recruit, go visit whoever you want to. That's how I feel about it. And then let the man make the decision. If he ends up going to Florida State, cool. We just had to find a way to beat him. Comes to Miami, great. Somebody just lost a spot on the starting offensive line, because trust and believe that man's going to come and start. So, I mean, yeah, he's an incredibly talented, incredibly large, strong, technical player. Would love to see him in orange, green, and white as opposed to garnet and gold, I believe, are their colors. That would be atrocious. I don't think that would look good on him at all. But yeah, no, Amarius Mims is at the top of everybody's transfer portal board for the most talented player currently uncommitted anywhere. That is, you know, in transition from one team to another. Whatever team that ends up being, we will see. But you know, respect all opponents and fear none, said Sun Tzu. So I'm not scared of the fact that he's going to Tallahassee for a couple of days. And y'all can clip that even if he goes there. Cool. I'm not scared about it, because I believe that we have the coaching in place and the program in place and the recruiting product in place that we can go toe-to-toe with anybody. If it ends up going a different way, hey, it's not for everybody. But I'm not going to sit here and be scared like in the past when like Al Golden was the coach and Manny Diaz was the coach, and somebody would go visit Tuscaloosa, right? Oh, that's a death knell. We don't want to see that on the list, because they go over there and they commit. Then Nick Saban will say, you can't even take any visits anywhere else. So even if you're from Miami, we're never going to see that person again. That would be one that would be more concerning to me. Now, if he commits on that and he doesn't make it down to Miami, that would be pretty tough to swallow. I would not enjoy that. But you know, yeah, I'm not going to sit here and just be shaking in my boots just because a player is visiting another team. I'm going to give the coaches who have demonstrated the ability to recruit and build a roster the benefit of that doubt. And hey, Mims can go see what it's like living that great value life up in Tallahassee. Everything discount. Hey, Walmart is great. You know, you want those not name brand kind of things, not the Little Debbie cakes, but the Sassy Susan cakes or whatever. Anything. Hey, if you want to be on that budget kind of life, and I've lived, look, I was a broke college student. I taught for a long time, beginning of my teacher career, super duper broke. I get it. Everybody listen, y'all probably laughing because you're like, bro, I remember I went somewhere and I got I had $1 in my pocket. Instead of getting the one Hostess cupcake, I got the 2 other little brand from whatever. Y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. And you can go get that experience in Tallahassee. But then when you want to come down with this money, when you want to come down with this prestige, when you want to come down with the winners and see what it's really about, Amarius, holla at us. We're ready for you, homeboy.
All right. The Little Debbies and the who?
Sassy Sally's, I believe, is what I came up with. But yeah.
Whatever came out at that time. And it always worked. So. Okay. Hurricane Speed, appreciate you being here. Miami's the sleeping giant that's waking up. Thank you for the contribution.
I hope so. I definitely hope so.
Yeah. When that comment and question was served up by John regarding Mario Cristobal, is he the dude or is he the guy that's going to set it up for the dude? I understand what he's saying there, but I was racking my brain trying to come up with a scenario in which we've seen a setup guy for the next guy. I haven't really seen that. You know, Mark Richt set it up for Kirby Smart, but it wasn't like Mark Richt was running some like second-rate program and that Kirby Smart just won a national title based on his recruits. He upgraded the recruiting and kept it going and all that. Like I just wasn't able to come up with that type of scenario where a big program.
I think that the Kirby Smart scenario is probably the most analogous because that's what you want to have happen here with Cristobal. The thing is, the program that Kirby Smart took over was much more settled than the one that Cristobal's taking over. So it was a little easier to build the building blocks on top for Kirby than it is for Mario because we're digging down, we're redoing the foundation and building up at the same time. Not just, okay, we're already at a very high level and we're going to take it to the top. That's a little bit different.
Yeah, Manny Diaz is messing around going 7-5. Mark Richt, if there would have been a playoff, he would have been there 4 times. Like he was that close that many times.
Right.
And gave Kirby a good enough roster that Kirby only had 1 recruiting class and went to a national championship game with Rick's roster. So that's a whole other deal.
But I mean, I think that, Kirby's been there, how many years now? 5, 6?
2016 was his first, so he's been there 6 total.
Right. So he's been there 6 years.
Yeah.
I think that, and then won a championship in year 6.
Yeah.
Hopefully, obviously, for Miami, we might try to find a way for it to be faster. But regardless of the prior championship game experience or appearance, that half is I think that's very analogous to what we want to see here from Cristobal. Settling everything, raising everything, and just, okay, we're going to recruit at the top of the level, the top of, our conference, bar none. I can't necessarily say that for Georgia because of Alabama, although they have out-recruited Alabama a couple of times as well. But, yeah, doing that, raising that, and then putting all of that together, that's exactly, I think, the way that you're trying to look at it. But we'll see if we're able to make that happen.
It is analogous, but Cristobal's got to raise the Miami program to where Richt had the Georgia program.
Right, exactly. No, you're correct. There's a deficit there as well. So, yeah, you got to get, the floor up to where the floor was before you can, raise the roof. Shout out to Michael Jordan. But, yeah.
Falcon Rex. Appreciate you, man. Haters use Hard Rock Stadium against Miami. The Orange Bowl was off campus and amazing. Can Miami make Hard Rock like the Orange Bowl, or do the haters have a point?
Miami needs to win. Period. That's the only thing. And even in games that Miami's lost, and even with not even a full stadium, Miami fans are loud. You hear it, you feel it, whether it's in the stands, in the press box, on the field, on the sideline, wherever you are, even when your boy won the high energy fan of the game, that would be me, the one time me, I did that, but yeah, the advantage is there, right? You've had multiple players from other teams saying that they had to go silent count in Hard Rock Stadium because the fans in full throat. You can't hear, you can't think. We completely rattled the 2017 Notre Dame game. That was the pinnacle. Cool. We fucked their entire shit up. They couldn't do anything. But Pittsburgh has said it. Georgia Tech has said it. There have been other teams that have come in and been like, yo, I thought that this was just casual day at the beach. It's going to be whatever. But, man, the Miami fans got in there and turned up, and it was different in there. It was loud. It was live. The energy, the volume, all of that. And again, I've seen that with 25, 30,000 people in the stands against Central Connecticut State make noise on a third down, right? It's there inside of every single person who goes into that stadium. It has been incumbent upon the program to give them a reason to hit that level of volume, but they absolutely can. 100%. It really just, Miami needs to win. Miami needs to perform better on the field. But is there an advantage when the team is going well? Yes. Conversely, do those players and coaches hear every single boo? Yes. Because whether you're cheering for them or rooting against them, right? We're the same people now, right? Cheering on one side or booing on the other. It gets loud in there, man. It honestly and truly does. I don't think that the haters have any point. They're just hating to hate. But you know what? That's fine. They can, sit back and watch this money pile up over here. Shout out to 50 Cent who said that. You know what I mean? I get why they would say that because that's all that they have. is, oh, it's not on campus. The Miami Open is on the same campus as Hard Rock Stadium. That just happened. There's a Formula One race, of which there's only 22 anywhere in the world. That's about to happen around Hard Rock Stadium. Like legendary concerts, Super Bowls, Orange Bowls, college national championship football games. All of these happen at this space. And Miami is lucky enough to play there as their home field 6 to 7 times a year. Hate all you want to, but whatever stadium is your home team's stadium is not matching up against Hard Rock Stadium. But it is really on the team to do better, to give the fans a reason to give that kind of energy all the time. And even when they're struggling to, you can hear the fans still turn up to 12 to support this team because, contrary to popular belief, Miami fans are not fair weather fans. We've been here all through. Mark and I have been doing this show for 11 years now? I mean, yeah, there's been some times that I've taken a week off, but bro, hello. I got my degree in 04. I'm not going anywhere. All these great people that I've met through the Miami Hurricanes, right? I'm not going to name everybody that, but like all of you that I've met through the Miami Hurricanes, you didn't used to root for another team. And okay, well, 2017, I'm going to root for this other team. In 2018, I'm going to be a Penn State or no, we're here 10 toes down, bleeding orange and green all the time. So it's there to be had. The program just needs to grab it. And I think with Mario Cristobal, it is right on the cusp. And hopefully, to hit that answer, yes, we can make it an impressive. I won't say like the Orange Bowl because that was a mecca of sport, but hopefully an impressive enough home field advantage where it continues to affect games in Miami's positive favor. But we'll see.
What I'm about to say reflects on Cam. It reflects on some other contributors that we have, but it mostly reflects on the Miami fan base. Is that I get more support from the Miami fans, and I don't even believe it's the highest number of fans that view my content across the board, but it's the loudest and it's the most supportive. I will say that it just is, and that's no knock on any other fan base because there are great contributors individually from other fan bases, but as a collective unit, it's not even close. We'll pick off a couple super chats. Appreciate Cam hanging in here for another minute or two. Hurricane Logan, thank you for being here. Hurricane Logan, we haven't heard from you in a long time. He says, sorry, it's been a minute deploying to Europe and have been extremely busy, just showing some love and respect. Go Canes. Thanks, man.
Awesome.
Ashley,
Man.
Cam,
Hey,
if we could grab 4 athletes using the portal now, what 4 players immediately not only put us in the ACC championship, but also the college football playoff, realistically speaking, of course.
4 more? I mean, number 1, Amarius Mims, because, he's the highest rated player out there. Caleb Johnson from UCLA was down on a visit of linebacker potential transfer. I think that he automatically goes into a starting role there. Past those guys, I would have to go and look and see what a list would be of available transfer portal guys. I think the Mesidor kid from West Virginia, he would be a top of the rotation, probably top 3 defensive tackle for the Miami Hurricanes, which obviously would then move some other guys down the depth chart. But I think that would be better for them to get light experience and let him do some of the heavy lifting in terms of play. And I think that would be better. I know I saw the really fast wide receiver from Louisville. I forget his name, though. Just went into the portal. But everybody on Twitter was saying that Alabama was tampering with him and that he's going to go there, which would be funny, especially considering the statements that Nick Saban made about basically having free agency in college football. And I just say, that's comedy coming from that person in that program because, obviously. But I don't necessarily know that we even need that person. I just kind of wanted to take a shot at Nick Saban. So there's that. But yeah, I would say Johnson, Mims, and Mesidor with room for a player to be named later if I were to look at a list off the top of my head.
Rodney, if you could have a position group improve to the best in the ACC this year while the rest remain the same as last season, which would it be?
Ooh, good question. While the rest remain the same, that's the part.
You don't take the worst unit on the team and elevate it? You're set at quarterback, running backs loaded. Right. Don't you say we want the best linebackers in the ACC or the best offensive line in the ACC?
Offensive line was middle of the road by the end of the year. We do have problems at linebacker. We have major problems at linebacker. And that was my initial thought. I think that some of those issues can be masked if the defensive line is just generational, though. And I think that the utility for the roster and the impact on the game would be so much higher. So and this is literally what was just going through my head there, but I'm going to go with the defensive line. That's because I think that's going to help everybody else, and it's just going to wreck shit on the other side. I'm going to go. And again, I see that there's a clear reason. I know some of you are watching this and you're screaming, Cam, no, go linebacker. You go linebacker. I'm taking defensive line, and it's going to help everybody. That's my answer.
I get it. Of which Clemson will have the best defensive line in the conference this year.
For this year.
Yeah. By a considerable margin, I would think. Their defense is stacked. I watched their quarterbacks throw again, DJ in particular, on Saturday.
Woo! Woo! DJ Ukulele losing his job.
If it's not a check down, it's dicey as to whether it's going to get there.
He's losing his job by like game 7. I was talking with my boy Fred Purdue about this. He actually just called me. We'll call him back later. But we were, I saw somebody on the timeline, Harrison. Shout out Harrison. Said, okay, we're going to set over under at 2.5 for when they're going to go to Klubnik. But like looking at the schedule, like the first 4 games, kind of not, even Trevor Lawrence, they didn't give the keys until game 4, or game 5. And they gave Kelly Bryant the ability to, step away, transfer, redshirt because of 4 games and whatnot. I just don't think, unless you lose to Georgia Tech in Atlanta in the opener or something like that, because then they got like the Citadel and somebody else, I just don't see it going that badly. Even though I don't think that he's good, I don't think that it's going to go that badly that early to precipitate pulling him up off of that position. And though I think that Klubnik is better, it's not a situation with Kelly Bryant impeding the path of a generational Trevor Lawrence kind of a thing, So I think maybe I would say probably somewhere in that 5.5 to 6.5 number, but I don't think that DJ is their quarterback. Honestly, because we play them at the end of the year, I don't think that he's their quarterback by the time that Miami plays them. I really don't. I think it's going to be, I said it last year about somebody else, but situation changed with that. But yeah, by Halloween, I don't think that he's going to be at the top of the depth chart.
I scurried to pull up Kelly Bryant's game log for 2018. Yeah, he played 4 games. They beat Furman. We know what happened there. Okay, not a big deal. But then I remember them playing a really tough game at Texas A&M. They only won by 2 points. And Kelly Bryant actually played pretty well, but I remember Trevor Lawrence and then back and forth in that game. And Bryant went 12 of 17 with a touchdown, 205 yards, ran for 54 and a touchdown. Then I can't make anything out of the next 2 games because I don't know what happened here. Georgia Southern, 7 of 10 with a pick. Georgia Tech, 6 for 10. And he was done.
The offense was kind of extra regular. And, you got you got the kid who was 1-1-1. You know, number one in his position, number one in the state, number one in the country, number one overall. You know, like, sorry, so yeah, 1-1-1. I said the same thing twice at the end there. Sorry, but yeah. So no matter which list of recruiting you're looking at, number one with the bullet. You know, and that's the kid that you have there waiting. Like, it's uncomfortable to be like, yeah, sorry, Kelly, but the ceiling's way higher with this kid, so we're going to go that direction. But I also think that that's going to extend Gigi Ukulele. Ooh, young Ukulele, I'll say it right. It'll extend his time at QB1 as QB1 at Clemson, because the guy behind him in Klubnik is not a 1-1-1 Trevor Lawrence kind of recruit. I think that he's better and going to end up the starter even this year. But I don't think that it's just like, you know, this Geo Metro with this, you know, Ferrari race car ready to go. I don't think it's that much of a disparity, but DJ's not good.
It was a gutsy move. It was, of course, the right move, and it proved to be the right move. But Kelly Bryant took them to the playoffs the year before, and they won the ACC championship. And he had just played, again, this game at Texas A&M, the best non-conference team on their schedule, and he was very integral in winning that game. And they beat Georgia Southern and Georgia Tech by 5 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And he's
again, yeah, but even still, we can see that we're operating at a BB plus level, but I got this potential A plus player that will elevate the operation to that A plus level. And again, I know that you're going to look at, again, in this Oregon versus Miami kind of a way. If we look at what just happened, I get that there's fully foundation to stay with Kelly Bryant. I get that even today, that rest of that year, you could look at that and be like, what Mark just said about the first 4 games. He was fine. If you don't give Trevor Lawrence the rest of those snaps, you redshirt him and you give Kelly Bryant all the snaps, then the performance would be da-da-da-da-da. That absolutely exists. But you also had Trevor Lawrence there, buddy. Sorry.
And they probably still go to the playoff with Kelly Bryant. They just don't win the national title because they were that much better than the rest of the ACC.
Right. And Trevor Lawrence is that much better than Kelly Bryant. Obviously, with the leveling of chronology of, you know, Kelly Bryant being a 4th-year junior at that point, and, you know, Trevor Lawrence being a true freshman, it would seem closer than that. But, like, if it took you 4 years to get here and I come in here, like, the ceiling is the roof. Come on.
Kelly Bryant threw 2 touchdowns in 4 games. Then Trevor Lawrence came in and threw 30 touchdowns.
That was the other thing. They were not getting in the end zone in the same kind of a way. So, yeah.
All right, LA Raw, appreciate it. What happened to Terrence Lewis, linebacker that went to Maryland that entered the transfer portal? First time watching live. Thank you so much for that. Let's go Canes.
Didn't he already announced that he was going somewhere, didn't he? I thought I saw that.
I didn't see.
Announced his commitment to UCF. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So he already did that. And then I think, again, from also in the wonderful world of recruiting, the off the field concerns. Once bitten, twice shy, because we've taken a couple of guys with some of those concerns already. And though he is incredibly talented, I'll let that be someone else's problem.
Thank you, everyone, for showing up. Appreciate the support, everything you guys do for us. Hit the like button on your way out. Check out State of the U. Cam, what do you have going on there?
Bunch of stuff. Got some guys, just continuing to get their commentary out there. So a few things in the queue for today and, the next few days, actually. So be sure that you go over there and interact with that. Sorry, I have a really massive 2 days of meetings at the Secret Day Job. They're very different meetings, but Thursday and Friday. So I know that I said I was going to get the numbers and needs up there before, but then these meetings popped up. So, kind of had to change my focus. But I'm going to get back out there as well. John Reynolds chronicling the season of the now number 2 ranked Miami Hurricanes baseball team. Mike McCoy going and looking back at some basketball things. Justin DeTavio still doing his all 22 film reviews. Kappa Kane popping in with some of the breaking news items since he has an ability to do that on a daily basis, and I don't at present, and even more. So all the content that you know and love, and even some other new content that you don't know, but I'm sure that you will love. So stateoftheu.com is the website. Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at the State of the U. My personal Twitter account is at Underwood Sports, where I will regretfully inform you that the UC Riverside Highlanders, unfortunately, in my legacy, have lost the last 2 years in the Sweet 16, coming off of 3 consecutive championships prior to that. So a little bit of a struggle in Riverside. We're going to see if we're going to stick there or not, but, all kinds of other things. But, hey, I'm just there. I'm just here so I don't get fined, as Marshawn Lynch once said. But, yeah.
I don't know what to say to any of that. Kyle Lauren, thank you so much for that. Can we definitely win 10 games if we get Mims 10-2? It's always an odd projection to try to make, to say, especially if it's not a quarterback, to say, what kind of difference would this guy make? Well, they could have the exactly same record, or he could make the key blocks in a game that allow you to beat Texas A&M. That's a difficult, projection to make.
I think it would not hurt our chances towards winning 10 games to have him. I won't guarantee it, because I'm not going to guarantee anything. And thank you to the Woods also, and to both. For those contributions, definitely appreciate it. But won't guarantee anything. But it wouldn't hurt to get a 6'7", 300+ pound offensive lineman, former 5-star, so very incredibly talented and physical on the roster. That wouldn't be a bad thing in my estimation. Cam
working overtime for us tonight, so we thank you for showing your appreciation. Cam, thanks for being here, making it happen, making it is what it is here.
Yes, sir.
We will see you next week, everyone.